Hello MotoGP fans, welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez has conquered the challenging Losail circuit in Qatar in what can only be described as a near-perfect weekend. Breaking a long-standing curse, his first win at the track since 2014, the Spaniard delivered a masterclass performance that redefined his approach. In a candid reflection on his weekend, Márquez revealed that the real measure of his strength comes when the going gets tough. At the recent Qatar Grand Prix, Ducati brought a fresh innovation to the paddock, a small damper installed on the rear wheel of the bikes. Tested exclusively by Marc Márquez and Fabio Giannantonio, this new part aims to address the persistent rear-end vibration issues that have troubled the riders. Despite a challenging weekend for Marc following his Austin misstep, the innovation is a testament to Ducati's constant pursuit of performance improvements. Yamaha's Fabio Quartararo faced a challenging race at the Qatar Grand Prix, where a difficult start left him trapped in a crowded pack. Despite showing promise the day before with a near-bronze finish in the sprint race, Quartararo struggled to break free and was ultimately forced to settle for 7th place after Maverick Vinales' penalty. The Frenchman has now spoken candidly about the issues holding him back and his need for new parts to regain competitiveness. Jack Miller's hopes of a late-season turnaround in Qatar were dashed in a dramatic crash under the floodlights at Losail. The Australian rider, battling food poisoning and mechanical woes throughout the weekend, experienced a violent rear-end vibration that upended his rhythm and ultimately forced him off the track. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. After an 11-year hiatus from victory at Qatar, Marc Márquez climbed to the top of the podium with a dominant display of racercraft and strategy. The former Honda rider, now with Ducati, turned a challenging circuit into his personal testing ground. Reflecting on his performance, Márquez highlighted the improvement he made in the fast, sweeping right-hand corners, a critical area that allowed him to seize the initiative when Pecco Bagnaia attempted to pass him. Riders like Alex, Pecco, Giannantonio, and others would have been competitive. We worked well throughout the weekend, and I made an important step forward in the right-hand corners, which made the difference. So I waited, and when Pecco passed me, I thought, now the race begins. I made the most of the front, and that's where I made the difference, Marquez said. The weekend was not without its challenges. Marquez recalled the collision with his brother Alex and a fierce duel with Maverick Vinales, where the dynamics of race strategy played a crucial role. I'll be honest, it depends on the strategy of the fastest rider, he explained. By deliberately easing off in the opening laps, Marquez managed to create a gap between himself and the pack, allowing him to maintain control. If the fastest rider slows down, the group becomes more compact. But if they push from the start, the gaps widen. Today I slowed down in those first laps and found many riders behind me. I was following my strategy. I was calm because I'd been the fastest all weekend, which for me was unexpected here in Qatar. In what may be the most revealing moment of his post-race reflection, Marquez shed light on the philosophy behind his comeback. He admitted that when conditions are challenging, his performance reaches its peak. When things get tough, that's when I feel my best, he declared, reminding fans and rivals alike that complacency in easier conditions can lead to costly mistakes. I made a mistake in Austin because things were easy, and I ended up doing stupid things. Here in Qatar, where I expected to suffer, this victory was the best way to respond to my rivals. It taught me that when things get difficult, I can truly perform at my best. With Jerez set as the next battleground, the Spanish champion's eyes are already on the upcoming race. Acknowledging the intense competition and the challenges posed by riders like Losail, Marquez is determined to carry forward the lessons learned in Qatar. His blend of tactical patience and fierce competitiveness promises to keep him at the forefront as the championship battle intensifies. As a Spaniard, I'm obviously eager to do well, and I know how competitive the field is. Jerez will be another tough test, but I'm ready to take it on. Marc Márquez's victory in Qatar has not only ended an 11-year wait at Losail, but also reaffirmed his belief in the value of facing adversity head-on. By embracing the challenges and performing when the pressure is at its highest, he has set a new standard for himself and sent a strong message to his rivals. With Jerez on the horizon, the stage is set for more thrilling battles as the season progresses. The innovation, a cylindrical swing-arm damper, was introduced by the ingenious Italian engineer Gigi D'Aligna. Known for his revolutionary ideas at Ducati and other MotoGP factories, D'Aligna's new invention is designed to absorb the rear-end vibrations that have been a consistent source of discomfort for Marc Márquez. The Cervera native had been vocal about these issues, and although similar systems have been used by other manufacturers, this is the first time it has been trialed on a Ducati in MotoGP. I was complaining of rear-end vibration issues, and this damper might just be the solution I've been looking for. During the Qatar Grand Prix, Losail's demanding conditions provided the perfect environment to put the new part to the test. Although the track is not traditionally considered favorable to Marquez, often suiting his teammate Pecco Bagnaia better, the innovation allowed Marquez to secure pole position and achieve victories in both the sprint and the Grand Prix. However, it's important to note that the damper wasn't used in the configuration during Sunday's race, indicating that further testing is required before it can be relied upon in critical race situations. Ducati's decision to revert to the proven GP24 configuration while still developing the new prototype underscores the delicate balance between innovation and reliability. The installation of the damper represents an incremental yet significant step forward in addressing technical challenges on the bike. As Ducati continues to refine its machinery, both Marquez and Giannantonio's feedback will be critical in determining whether this new part can be fully integrated into the race setup for future events. With the damper now under evaluation, Ducati is showing that innovation is an ongoing process. Marc Márquez's and Fabio Giannantonio's trials in Qatar may well pave the way for a more stable and faster Ducati in the future. As the development continues, all eyes will be on the feedback from these tests, and soon, we'll learn whether this small yet pivotal piece of engineering will help propel Ducati to even greater heights in the championship. Starting from the front row in Qatar did not deliver the momentum Quartararo hoped for. On the first lap, he lost 3 positions as the lack of grip forced him into the pack. Despite managing to fend off attacks from KTM's, Aprilia's, and Honda's, he found himself unable to escape the group, especially when faced with aggressive moves by the Ducati riders of Fermín Albuquerque and Alex Marquez. It was tough. The first laps weren't very fun. We had more or less the same problem as always when the grip is low. Then it improves a bit, but it's already too late. Quote from Quartararo. The Yamaha rider explained that the current setup left him stuck in the pack, unable to leverage his strengths. Quartararo pointed out that while his braking performance remains solid, keeping the bike upright, other elements such as grip, power, and effective overtaking are lacking. The inability to set up for overtakes in low grip conditions means that even if the bike shows potential later in the race, the crucial early laps determine his fate. The way we're riding at the moment, we're stuck. Especially at the beginning, everyone who passed us was much faster than us. With zero grip, zero power, and a lot of wheelies, it's really hard to set up for an overtake and ride well. Aware that individual effort alone will not turn the tide, Quartararo stressed the importance of evolving the bike setup with new parts. The Frenchman is hopeful that developments from upcoming tests, in Italy immediately after the race and later at Le Mans, will provide the necessary gain in grip and performance. With his sights set on challenging the race leaders, Quartararo remains determined to improve even if it takes time. I did everything I could and today was the best I could do, unfortunately. We'll see in the next races, but we need new parts to really have more grip. I want to fight with the leaders as soon as possible, but I also know that it will take time. At the very least, it would be nice to be able to fight a little more. Fabio Quartararo's reflections on his challenging race in Qatar underscore the fine margins in MotoGP. While he remains committed to fighting for every position, the need for enhanced performance parts is clear. As Yamaha prepares for further tests and development in Italy and beyond, Quartararo's determination to overcome these technical hurdles will be key to his bid for championship contention in the coming races. After qualifying 16th for the Qatar Grand Prix and struggling through a weekend marred by food poisoning and multiple crashes, Miller briefly looked to be mounting a comeback on Sunday. Initially, he managed to gain positions, even momentarily passing his former KTM teammate Binder. However, just as the number 43 began regaining its rhythm, disaster struck on lap 9 of 22. That was the best I'd felt all weekend. The bike was working well, until it suddenly wasn't. My rhythm was strong, and I was feeling pretty comfortable catching back up to the group ahead, Miller said. According to Miller, the critical moment came when he switched the engine map just before approaching turn 15 on what could have been his best lap. Suddenly, the bike started vibrating violently at the rear. The disturbance was so severe that Miller described it as making his legs come off the pegs. Forced to slow down, his lap time suffered, recording 1 foot 53.9 inches. Then, a few corners later, as he followed race leader Martin into turn 1 and tried to continue the chase, the bike lost its front-end grip and slid out from under him, sending him crashing onto the dirty section of the track. I switched the map, and then just before the crash, coming into turn 15 on what could have been my best lap, the bike suddenly started vibrating violently at the rear, so much so that my legs came off the pegs. I managed to keep the bike up with my elbow, but when I pushed in deeper, it started vibrating again. I was offline and onto the dirty part of the track, and the bike just slid out from under me. He added that the data clearly showed a change from one lap to the next, although the tire looked fine and everything appeared normal. We need to understand more about what happened, he concluded. The mechanical issue wasn't isolated to Miller alone. Teammate Fernandez also crashed 4 laps later at turn 4, resulting in a double DNF for the satellite Yamaha squad. Team director Gino Borso acknowledged the challenges of the weekend, emphasizing that the engineers will now meticulously analyze the data to pinpoint the exact cause of the sudden vibration. It has been a tough weekend. Our engineers will now analyze the data to fully understand what exactly happened. We now have a 1-week break before Jerez, and we have some homework to do. Miller remains cautiously optimistic about the upcoming round in Jerez. I think this bike will work well there, he stated, hoping that the improvements made during the break will allow him to regain his competitive edge. Jack Miller's dramatic crash underscores the razor-thin margins in MotoGP, where even a sudden change in vibration can derail a race. With a week off before Jerez, the focus now shifts to understanding and rectifying these mechanical issues. As the team gets to work, all eyes will be on how well Miller and his Yamaha rebound in the next round. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time.